Alright, happy Thursday evening, vinyl fans on the internet, Facebook and YouTube. Today I'm going to be talking about two different subjects. I'm going to do my top 10 most valuable or rare records, and I just picked at random 10 of my favorite records in my collection, be it because of value, story of how I got it, or just a personal favorite. So let's just go ahead and jump right in with some honorable mentions. I'm going to do some box sets. My most valuable box sets are the Queen studio album box set. It's about $350. Nightmare on Elm Street's The Box of Souls, sitting at around $200. Ryan Adams' first pressing Live at Carnegie Hall box set, still at $150. And all the Dave Matthews Band live track series and their other live album box sets range anywhere between $75 and $175 a piece. I have all of those except for one. And the Ryan Adams Prisoner 7-inch box set is still sitting at about $115. So those are the box sets. So now we're going to move on to my top 10 favorite records. They're not really, they're kind of in order. So we're going to start here with number 10. My number 10 favorite record in my collection, not for value, is Johnny Cash Live at Folsom Prison. This is an original pressing on Columbia. It's still in the shrink, and it is in absolute near mint condition. I've ran through probably 10 copies of this album trying to find like the perfect copy, and there is a little bit of ring wear and whatnot, but it is easily the best sounding copy I've ever heard of this, so definitely happy to have that in my collection. Listen to it all the time. It was one of my first loves, so that's my number 10. Number 9, my Stone Mint Japanese pressing of Rain Dogs by Tom Waits. I got super lucky to find this one at a very cheap price. It's not my favorite Tom Waits record, but it is probably the best sounding one that I have. Alright, the next one's kind of a funny one here. I won this in a raffle for $3, I think it was. This is an original pressing of Floored by Sugar Ray, and it's signed by the entire band. They're in the silver Sharpie. The only one I know is Mark McGrath. I have no idea what the other guys' names are. But for Kiss value, I'm going to say that this is definitely one of the ones that I show people, and we have a nice little chuckle at, so nice to have that. Alright, the next one clocks in at about $100. It's a UK album. It only came out in the United Kingdom. It's not the best Eric Clapton record, but it's the one that means the most to me. My dad and I saw Clapton on this tour back in 2002, so it means a lot to me. It is Reptile. Like I said, it runs about $100, and it was only put out in the United Kingdom. So, good luck finding a copy of it. It's pretty hard. I only know 2 other people that have it. Vinyl Collector James and Rockboy 680. Next one is a modern era pressing, but it is my favorite album. It's that 200 gram, 45 RPM, August and Everything After by Counting Crows. This thing is a Mack truck. It sounds amazing. It's super thick and sturdy. It's got that nice, thick cardboard sleeve. They didn't skimp on this one at all. It came out, Analog Productions did this, that's right, in 2012. And it went out of print there for a little while, but it's back in now, and you can probably pick this one up for $40 to $50. Totally worth it if you're a fan. Next, still in print, you can get it for about $50. Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. This is the reissue. I didn't file this one under box set because it is pretty much, just the one album there. It's one of my favorite albums of all time, and just to have it in such a nice, huge format with all the extra artwork and things like that, it's easy to sit down and just get lost in this album, and you have like books of images and lyrics and everything else that you can read along while you're doing it, so you can really just get submerged into this record. It's perfect. Alright, next is my test pressing of Seed by the band Looming. As you can see, it's signed to me from Jessica, the lead singer and bass player, and another member of the band, her boyfriend slash, I think it's just her boyfriend, but the other day I accidentally dropped it and scratched it, so I got a hold of her and she's gonna send me another copy, and this time it's gonna be autographed by the entire band because they're all gonna be in town this coming week. They were 20 copies with each band member's face on it, so they're not super rare if you're a fan of this band, but I was lucky to get the one with Jessica on it, Jessica Knight. She's very talented, and this is like one of my favorite albums. So. And to have it personalized to me is really awesome. Alright, number 3, as we're going down the list here. I didn't realize that this thing was holding its value since it's been repressed. This is the limited to 200 copies on yellow vinyl, Ben Folds, Rockin' in the Suburbs. This has been a favorite album of mine since high school, back in the early 2000s, pretty much when it came out. And it's been with me ever since, and I obviously, as soon as I found that it was coming out on vinyl, I pre-ordered it. And now it looks like the yellow vinyl is selling for between $100 and $175. And I think I paid like $30 pre-order. It's not numbered or anything, it's just yellow vinyl, and the sticker says limited to 200 copies. And that's pretty much it. There's nothing else special about it, other than that it's one of my favorite records. Now this one is pretty special. My favorite Quentin Tarantino movie, and one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time, True Romance, the score by Hans Zimmer that was put out last year by Enjoy the Ride Records. I picked up the very expensive package, test pressing package. They only made 24 test pressings, and a lot of them went to friends and family, and they only put a couple up for sale to consumers. And I was lucky enough to get it. And as you can see here, I got number 5 of 24. It's awesome, and it came with the other copies of the record, and it came with a bonus 7-inch. It came with the 45 adapter, all kinds of stuff. We paid for it, but yeah. So these things are super rare, hard to come by, and they've never been up for sale that I can find. So I don't know. The value is just what it is to me, which is very sentimental. This movie and the theme, the main theme by Hans Zimmer, You're So Cool, I think it's called. Yeah, You're So Cool is the main title theme. Takes me back to when I was 19 and just what I was doing at that time frame. I don't really want to get on it. And my favorite is an original pressing on white vinyl of Islands Return to the Sea. This was super rare, and it's autographed by Nick. I went to one of his shows, or one of the band's shows, and I got there early, and he was just sitting in a booth, and we were chatting, and I had him sign a couple of my records, but I didn't want the other members of the band to sign this one because they're not original members, and this was their first album. He said he hadn't even seen one of these in years, and he was very happy to see it, and he was an amazingly nice guy, and I have a great story to go along with it, and the autograph, and the little picture there that he drew, and it's a great album on top of that. And not even a month later, he puts up online that they're going to reissue at 45 RPM on black vinyl, and I picked that one up as well. So I'd like to think that I planted the seed for the reissue. Who knows if that's true or not, but he didn't mention it. He did not mention it at the time, and he was very happy and surprised to even see it because he hasn't seen it in years, he said. So maybe so. Okay, I'm gonna use my handy dandy cheat sheet. We're gonna move on to my 10 most rare and valuable. I did have to omit a few different things to fit it into the 10. There was a lot around the same value, but I just picked 10. So number 10, REM's Monster. Original US pressing. I think the only pressing in America is the original, and it sits at about 120 bucks. Next up, Ben Folds Live, put out by Sundays. I picked this one up from a Canadian seller who didn't know how to clean a record. He called it VG or VG Plus, and I took a chance on it because he dumped it for like 50 bucks. and after cleaning, it sounds near mint. And it looks near mint and sounds near mint. I don't know what he was thinking, but you know, it is what it is. I paid the Canadian shipping, so. Anyways, this one goes for 150 to 200. All right. My favorite horror movie, Dawn of the Dead. This is the Waxworks exclusive for members, subscribers to their little club or whatever. I subscribed for this year specifically to get this one, and they released it first, which is awesome. It's on a special colorway. I have no idea how limited it is, but it's the soundtrack to my favorite horror movie, and it's one of the ones that I've been wanting for years, but they didn't really have a good proper repress, and they finally did it, and this thing sits at about $175, give or take. Next, the only pressing, it's a UK only, of Tom Waits' The Black Rider. Came out in 1993. Says here, made in Great Britain. Looks like it was sitting at a store for Atomic Records for $15.95, down from $17.95. So I paid a little bit more than that, but I definitely did not pay what it's worth. It runs anywhere between $150 and $175. It's not my favorite Tom Waits record, but I'm a completist, so. Next is another soundtrack. This is Mondo's Dilophosaurus colored vinyl for Jurassic Park. I've shown this one in many videos before. It's my son's first record and probably my favorite in my collection. Yeah, so Jurassic Park, 2 LP set, 180 gram for the best possible sound. This is actually one of the Mondo pressings that does actually sound really good. At least my pressing does. I've had some stinkers. But this is on a gorgeous green, red, and yellow splattered Dilophosaurus colored vinyl, and it's selling right now for $150 to $225, which is kind of surprising, but not really. Next up, one of my favorite 90s records. I'm surprised this one's never been reissued. This is I believe it's UK. I'm gonna say UK, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it's French even. I can't decide. It doesn't say on the packaging. Anyways, Presidents of the United States of America. Kitty, Feather Plucking, Lump, Stranger, Boll Weevil, Peaches, Dune Buggy, Naked and Famous. Everybody had this record in the mid-90s for sure. And it goes for $150 to $200 right now. Again, shocked that this hasn't been reissued. I think I paid $60. Original pressing on white vinyl, Nirvana's Unplugged in New York, my favorite Nirvana record, my favorite, I don't know, my favorite of the MTV Unplugged for sure, and definitely in the top 10 all-time favorite albums that I listen to the most. That would be on that list. And it's about a $200 record right now. These are the prices off Discogs, by the way. Median and high sale prices mixed with what's the prices of the ones for sale. But mostly I go by the median mixed with the max. Next up, we're at number 3. My third most expensive is an original pressing on translucent blue vinyl, Soundgarden, Super Unknown. This thing is still in the shrink. Looks like it's been played maybe once. I cleaned it, and it is Stone Cold Mint. One of the best sounding records in my collection too, which is surprising due to the loudness for the 90s. It's sitting at between $150 and $250. I would say that mine's more on the higher end just because of I know how amazing of a condition that it is. Sleeve is, there's no corner dings. It's still in the shrink. And the records have no warp and no scratches whatsoever. So I would say closer to the higher end. Personally, for me, I'd rather have a tried and tested near mint copy than to take my chances on spending $250 on a sealed copy, and it could have a bowl warp or anything else because it's been in that tight shrink for 20, 30 years. So there we go. Number 2, this is kind of surprising. It's one of my favorite 90s records. From a time period, you know, I don't really listen to this style of music anymore, but I can still put on this record because it does take me back to 1998. Mechanical Animal by Marilyn Manson. It's on a translucent blue and a solid white. I think I picked this one up for $250, and it sells now for between $200 and $275. It's just insane, right? But and it's even had a MOV repress, and it's had the original run. But I think that's it. Those two pressings. So yeah, it's a great record. Probably his best, or at least for the era that I listened to him in. And yeah, second most valuable. And my most valuable single LP record is the only pressing of Counting Crows, This Desert Life. Came out in 1999. It's their third studio album. It's probably my third favorite, maybe even fourth favorite. But it runs $250 to $300, and this one is still in the shrink. And I picked it up from somebody that I trust, so it's probably only been spun once to 3 times probably total. Beautiful, near mint condition. So yeah, that's my most valuable non-box set single record there at about $300. So love to hear in the comments. Make a video and tag me. I would love to hear what some of your most valuable records are, and also if you don't want to do most valuable, you do 10 of your favorite records and why, like I did. So everybody have a great night. Thanks for watching, and as I always say, enjoy the music.